Let's talk about 6 practical ways to advance your career through daily overlooked opportunities. All right. So daily there are opportunities that are presented before you to advance your career, to create great bond that will advance your career. But for some reason you're not paying attention. So let's sort of dive right into it, and so that you can see some of the things that you're not doing right, or opportunities you're not taking right. Number one, you're being asked for lunch, for drinks, for tea, and you're not going. So your boss or your leaders are asking you, maybe your boss comes up to you, say, do you want to get lunch? Can we go for lunch together? And you're like, no, I'm busy. Oh, when you're asked for lunch and you can actually go, you should. And you should prioritize that over, except there is a deadline that is a drop dead deadline. You should prioritize it because it is a seed that you're sowing into bonding with those who matter. So when they ask you for tea, when they ask you for lunch, when they ask you to just go, just get up. We know you're very busy, but you're busy for these same people that are asking you to go for lunch. So get up and go. Same with drinks. When they ask you to come socialize with others and all of that, these are places where you get to see them in their out of office mode, so you can really learn more about them, learn more about how they view life and all of that. You can then begin to have an holistic view as to what drives them. They can tell you a couple of things happening in their personal life, and you can then begin to develop and grow empathy towards them. Same with you. They may, just because you're out with them, they may begin to see and understand you more, and then that can just create a really great bond that can then become really helpful for you when you truly need them to be there for you in your career. Okay. Number two, every single meeting you attend is your opportunity to impress, and is also your opportunity to impact. So when you put in a meeting with your bosses, with stakeholders, with clients, with customers, you must go to every meeting prepared. It doesn't even matter if you feel like you already know what's going to be discussed. You still have an agenda, even if it's some scribblings. Always have an agenda for your meetings. This is my personal preference. If I'm going to a meeting with someone more senior to me, I go not just with the agenda. The least you would see me prepared is a Word document with a list of things to discuss, or an Excel sheet with a list of things to discuss. If I feel like if I have the time, I'm just going to create those slide decks. I'm just going to create them because I want to put a picture to everything we're discussing, and I want to always show that I'm in control of the conversation. So you want to also do the same. So have your own agenda and speak up. Every meeting you go to, make sure that you are speaking up in those meetings. Don't feel like there's nothing I want to say. There's always something you can say. You could clarify things, you could ask questions, you could share your own perspective, you could share a story about a time when you had faced a similar thing that is being discussed and how it was resolved. Don't say you don't have anything to say. Your work is to solve problems, okay? And one of the ways that you can really show that you're there to make impact is by you sharing your own side of things and your perspective to situations, okay? Number three is that you should always pitch your tent with your team. Do not fight your team, especially in front of like customers and clients, even with your bosses. If you have those you're responsible for, do not fight your teams. Do not pitch your tent against your teams. It does not make you look good at all. Always celebrate your team. Always be optimistic with ideas coming out of your team. If your team have agreed to do something, be the one championing and cheering everybody up. Now, it doesn't mean that everything your team decides is going to sort of be fine with you. Obviously, you're not the only one on the team, so there are some conclusions, like for instance, even in terms of like, oh, let's come together to work together a day in the week somewhere, may not be as convenient, but the fact that it's not as convenient does not mean that there will be no other resolutions in the future that will just work perfectly for you. So you must sort of think your team first, and then think about them, think about how you can support, and be the one saying, oh, we can do it. It's not as convenient, but I will try my best. Okay. The next one is you should offer to do complex tasks. Don't run away from it, because you as a person doing complex tasks develops you. It basically develops you. So don't run away from it, especially because those are the tasks that give you the visibility that you need. It's the same hours you're spending with a complex one, you're spending with the not so complex one. So why not spend your hours qualitatively doing what is important and getting yourself in front of those who matter? Okay. The next one is for you to offer to lead others. If there is ever an opportunity to lead, leading is interesting because you don't have to have all the answers. In fact, you determine how it all goes. So if you don't have the answers, it gives you an opportunity to sit back and listen to what others, those that you're leading, have to say, and then you pull everything together and facilitate everybody to make a decision. Okay, that's why it's interesting. And the more you lead, the better you get at it, and the more answers you know, just because of that exposure to people. And you don't necessarily need to lead in a very complex situation. You can lead social events. You can lead small bits of committees here and there. You can lead bits and pieces of things. You don't need to have like 10 people in a team. For you can lead one person and you can lead them to becoming better and all of that. It just shows. So you must always take opportunities to lead others. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to say to you is this: read. There are opportunities right there in front of you, across on your job, in your industry. There are people taking their time to write about their experiences. They are writing solutions to critical issues.